Kia ora, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week, get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock. With news, Janet Yellen is calling for a global minimum tax on multinationals. But first up today, the IMF has released a series of global economic reports, the heart of which show rising economic growth rates, especially in the first world, but problems for the developing world and rising inequality. The improving American economy is drawing billions of dollars in capital from emerging markets, stirring concerns that investor flight may destabilise these countries, where pandemic inflections remain high and the prospect of an economic recovery seems distant. The IMF is also warning about the rising non-financial sector leverage, which they see as a real risk to be addressed and entirely a consequence of loose monetary policies and vast pandemic stimulus. In China, there was a not-so-flash private sector Caixin PMI report out. Like its official version, this one reports a cooling in the expansion of activity in private factories, and the heat has well and truly gone out of their sharp recovery. It was the slowest expansion in almost a year. In South Korean factories, they remain in solid expansion mode, and factories in Taiwan are expanding even faster. In the US, the March non-farm payrolls report was a good one. It led by an accelerating pace of vaccinations and anticipation of more stimulus. Employers added 916,000 jobs in March, up from 416,000 in February, and the most since August 2020. The labour market improvements are also reflected in the state of American factories. They're running at the best levels in 14 years and the best since the GFC. The March results were affected by well-publicised supply channel problems, but new order levels are high and hiring is rising. The previously noted sharp rise in costs and prices are also a feature of these reports. And the American vehicle sales rose sharply in March at a rate of 17.7 million per year, up from 15.5 million per year in February. Still, this leaves the American car market still well into second place behind China. In Chicago, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has called for a global corporate minimum tax on multinationals. In Europe, their factory sector is rising as well. Record increases in output, new orders, exports, and purchasing activity were recorded, while unprecedented supply chain delays drove their sharpest rise in input costs for a decade. The US Treasury 10-year yield is up 1 basis point at 1.72%, and the price of gold starts today down $4 from Saturday at $1,726 an ounce. And oil prices have slumped over the weekend, down by about $2.50 a barrel and now just under $58.50 a barrel in the US, while the international price is now just over $62 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar opens today marginally firmer at just on 70.6 US cents. Against the Australian dollar, we're unchanged at 92.3 Australian cents, and against the euro, we're also virtually unchanged at 59.8 euro cents. That means our trade-weighted index opens a little higher today at 73.1. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.